So I drew 4 little things here. Would you agree that that's 30 degrees? About. Sure. What's that? Yeah, you can draw all 4 of them. Now the question is, if 30 degrees is a reference angle, what angle is this one so that it has a reference angle of 30 degrees? 150 degrees. Good. And then if you went here so that you had a reference angle of 30 degrees, that one would be 210 degrees. And finally, there would be one in quadrant. $330 degrees. Now because, and again, you may want to quickly draw your equilateral triangle and split it in half so you have a 30 degree in there. This is one of our special triangles. We made all the sides 2, which made these ones 1 and 1. Do you remember what the height of that triangle was? Root 3. Good. And if you don't remember, you can do a squared plus b squared equals c squared to find it out. 330 for the last one. So now that you've got all of those diagrams, which shows all the angles that have 30 degrees as a reference angle, we can do sine, cosine, tan of 30 degrees. And then looking at your special triangle, what is sine of 30 degrees? Opposite over hypotenuse, right? How this works? Well, first of all, we drew a right angle triangle with 30 and 60 degrees. Then we took that triangle and copied it over to the other side. That makes this whole triangle, which I'll outline here in black, an equilateral triangle because they're all 60. And what do we know about equilateral triangles? All the sides are the same. So then I made all the sides 2. You could pick a different number. 2 just works out nice. Because when I get to the bottom, since it's split in half, I can just do 1 and 1, because that still makes 2, 2, 2 on all 3 sides. And that's a square root of 3, and you can figure that out if you don't remember it by doing a squared plus b squared equals c squared in that right triangle. This will be 1 plus b squared equals 4. Subtract the 1 on both sides. And you'll get square root of 3 for b. Well, here's the triangle. Here's a right angle triangle. Can you see that the 2 is the hypotenuse? So that I've got 2 squared for c squared, and 2 squared is 4. Well, if you have the triangle memorized, so you're supposed to memorize 30, 60, and 45. So let's write them down. Which ones do you have to memorize? Or no, you need to know 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees. And then you're going to need to know all the ones that have reference angles. If they have that as a reference angle, which we're going to see, 150 you'll have to know, 210 you're going to know, and so on. You're also going to know 0, 90, 180, and 270. You'll have to know those ones as well. What 0? Well, with the 30, 45, and 60, we had the 2 special triangles. The one I've drawn here, it has 30 and 60. So now that I have a right angle triangle, I can find sine, cosine, tan just looking at this. For example, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So I look where 30 degrees is. The opposite side is 1. Hypotenuse is 2. So sine of 30 is 1/2. And I get that without my calculator. Cos of 30 is adjacent over hypotenuse. I'll get that to be √3/2. And tan of 30 is opposite over adjacent, which is 1/√3, which when you rationalize the denominator, you get √3/3. So those are the ones for 30. Now, because 150 has a 30-degree, and if you were to draw a triangle, it would be the same triangle here as we have over here. And so sine, cos, and tan will be the same for 150. The only difference is now some of them might be negative. So we're going to write sine, cos, and tan of 150. They'll be the same numbers. It'll still be 1/2 √3/2 and √3/3. But now which ones are going to be positive and which ones are going to be negative? You have to do your little cast thing. Which quadrant are we talking about right now? The quadrant 2 where the S is. So that means sine is going to be positive. The rest are going to be negative. So now I am going to give you a head start with 210 and 330. Okay, how did you do? Did you get negative 1/2, negative √3/2, and positive √3/3 for 210? And negative 1/2, positive √3/2, and negative √3/3 in quadrant 4. Again, you're looking at the cast rule in quadrant 4. The cos is the one that's positive. In quadrant 3, tan is the one that's positive. So the question you can do from this one is number 9.